first thing any media people have to do immediately after the championship, Jimmy. We have to ask the question: is this team built for another run? Uh, they played a great defensive strategy against the Mavericks. They played a great defensive strategy against the Pacers, right? They played fantastic fundamental basketball throughout the entire playoffs. And what I mean by that is they like very simple rule, right, Jimmy, in basketball. If you're standing in the same place for 2 seconds and you don't have the ball, move, right?
Move.
Watch. Watch the Celtics. They do that and they are creating so many shots, cutting to the basket, moving around, right? They are just playing fundamental basketball that's phenomenal. Defending, when they're defending, they're making sure their bodies are in the right position. So many times did I see Kyrie turn his back, and some of the guys turn their back to the guys on the outside, so they didn't know where they were, and then they'd move, and they're moving all the time. They weren't standing still, and the Mavericks just got burnt by a fundamentally better basketball team, and so my question for you, Jimmy, is the Celtics have been building up to this over a few years, right? This is probably the third or fourth year in a run where they've been at the top of the league and they haven't gotten over the hump. They got over the hump. So is this the beginning of a run or is this the end? Will the Celtics repeat next year? Jimmy King, tell us.
It would be hard to do. Of course, it's hard to win one, and it's even tougher to repeat. We've seen a lot of teams in the past several years not make it past the second round after winning the championship. So I hope that the Celtics break that kind of uh, curse that's been going on for the past several years. Besides Denver, but it's possible, but what I want to see is and here's something that you probably wouldn't expect me to say. I want to see if Al Horford comes back, which he probably won't. This is probably his swan song. He leaves, gracefully bow out. But with that being said, he's such a fixture and like a glue for that locker room. When I watch Jason Tatum and I watch Jalen Brown, they don't bring that vocal energy that you have to have in an 82 regular season stretch and run, and let alone the playoffs. So you have to replace someone that's like a Al Horford that can galvanize the locker room and energize players on those nights when nobody's really watching. This ain't the NBA finals, this ain't the playoffs, and there's nothing on the line. You need guys like that to keep you consistent. It's not enough just for the coach to do it, because that's also his job. They got to find somebody that can fill in for Al Horford.
Jimmy, I um, do not believe the Celtics will repeat. I think that it's pretty. I think I've seen this happen many times, right? This is a team that's been culminating and culminating and culminating, and they finally get to the top, and they're going to be one and done. And I don't think they're going to disappear in the case of. I think they're a solid basketball team with good coaching, and they're going to reload, and they're going to. Tatum's declining. Horford's probably going to be gone. Porzingis is injured all the time, right? So but the core is there, so I think they're going to be good. They're probably going to be in the Final Four in the East next year. But
Mhm.
what they did this year is difficult. It's difficult for as it has been the last 3 years for them, for it to kind of all click together and align at once. This was their year. They're not a dynasty. They're not a team that's going to go on a 3 or 4 or 5 year title run. They were a good team that got to the pinnacle, and one of those years they were a good team. And
I,
I think
I
that's where it is.
I don't disagree, but I do believe if Brad Stevens one of the great executives in the NBA, has already, because I'm pretty sure he's ahead of the game, have an eye on somebody that can fill in the gaps and make this team better. You can't stay static. You can't stay the same. So I know that they're going to get some pieces, some surprise pieces this year that should improve that team.
But
But as
Jimmy,
far as
but Jimmy,
repeating
the
and
other guys are trying to win too, Jimmy. The other
oh,
GMs and
absolutely,
the other coaches
but
and the other
but a
players in the
lot,
East are trying to
but
win
what
too.
but what people discount is that people watch or players watch what's going on, and just because it looks good in one place, under behind the scenes they know what's really transpired. So I think the Celtics fan base, the Brad Stevens track record, Joe Mazzulla's the coach track record, you got two guys that are already the guys there, so everybody pretty much know, or coming in will know their role. So it's a different decision versus going to, say, like LA, to the Clippers or to the Lakers even. Like, you still got your two guys, but you don't have a coach. What is your system? What's your philosophy? All of that factors into guys making a decision in free agency.
Yeah. And I totally get it, but all those other teams are trying just as hard to win, and you've got some good teams in the East, right? I don't think the East is as strong as the West, but whenever this happens, guys tend to go the other way because they realize, oh wait, the West is really hard. So let me go over to the East and dominate over there, and then the balance tips again. But Jimmy, you got to watch out for those Pistons.
Oh
They got
yeah,
they got
of course.
Cunningham, and they're going to
Look, they
add
took
LeBron.
their lumps last year. That's
Yeah,
one of the worst seasons on
yeah.
record. They're not going through that again.
No, but
Guaranteed.
they got
Too much
they got
pride in the city of Detroit.
yeah, they got Cunningham. They're gonna add LeBron and Bronny. They might get oh, you remember my prediction? The Pistons are gonna get
There you
LeBron, they're
go.
gonna get Bronny, they're gonna get Clay, they're gonna get Clay from Golden State. They're gonna have, Cade Cunningham. They're gonna have the whole thing going on. And Boston's gonna be in trouble when they get up against LeBron and
Let's
Bronny.
talk about my Pistons now. That's my surrogate home. That's my second home right there.